Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to declare the council meeting of the 27th of May 2025 open at 5:31 and would like to advise that this meeting is being live streamed in accordance with the council meeting's live streaming, recording and electronic attendance policy. By being present at this meeting, members of the public consent to the City live streaming and recording and subsequently publishing their voices on the City's website. The acknowledgement of country. I first wish to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land that we are on, the Mandurah people, who have met for thousands of years on the shores of these beautiful waterways as we do today. This is Mandurah, meeting place of the heart. Apologies. We have no apologies this evening. Important notice. Members of the public are advised that any decision made at the meeting tonight can be revoked in accordance with the Local Government Act 1995. Therefore, members of the public should not rely on any decision until formal notification in writing by council has been received. Answers to questions taken on notice, and we have a couple of questions there, and I'll take those as being read. So we'll now move to our public question time. So please ensure that your questions relate to the ordinary business of the City, the function of council, or the purpose of this meeting. Please note that this is an opportunity to ask questions only, not additional statements or arguments will be permitted. During public question time, members of the public are given the opportunity to ask a question of council. Council will allocate 15 minutes for public questions time. Once this time has been exhausted, I may move to extend that period of time, although we don't have many people in the gallery tonight. The City is committed to ensuring a fair and equitable access to public question time. So in accordance with the council policy, each member of the public who wishes to ask a question may ask up to 3 questions. Public question time must be conducted in accordance with the City of Mandurah's standing orders. Questions must not reflect adversely on the integrity of the City of Mandurah, including elected members, City officers or other parties. Members of the public who have submitted questions in advance of this meeting will be invited to ask their question first. Following this, if time allows, I will invite others to ask questions. So when called forward to ask your question, please begin by stating your name. The City will make every attempt to provide an answer. Where this is not possible, your question will be taken on notice and a written response will be provided to you once the necessary research has been undertaken. This response will also be included in the next council agenda. So I'll now open public question time at 5:34 and would like to start by reading a question. Unless, Natalie, would you like, no, I'll read the question on your behalf. So Natalie has presented 3 questions and I'll read those now. The first question, I wish to express concern from the residents of Lakelands regarding the ongoing construction work by the Ocean Hills estate developer, including the lack of communication from council about the duration and impact of large volumes of truck movements on residential streets in the estate. Can council please provide documentation for all approvals that have been issued to the developer, including haulage routes through Lakelands estate? And I'll direct that question to the Director of Built and Natural Environment.
Through the Mayor, the City will release this documentation subject to third-party consultation in accordance with the Freedom of Information Act 1992.
Thank you. The second question. In future, will the council notify impacted residents on the approved haulage route in writing detailing the duration of the works, i.e. weeks, months, that they will be impacted? Back through you.
Through the Mayor, the City is presently reviewing the communication process associated with haulage routes with the aim of improving communication with impacted residents on a case-by-case basis.
Thank you. And the third question, will the CEO commit to a meeting with me and Lakelands at a convenient time to discuss safety issues and see firsthand how dangerous the conditions are to the residents and motorists of this estate? And I'll direct that to the CEO. Sorry.
Through you, Mayor, I have spoken to the Director of Built and Natural Environment and he will initially meet with Miss Brettle and have a conversation and discuss the matters at hand.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions from the gallery? No, we don't. Okay, we will now close public question time at 5:36. We'll now move to public statements, and we have none. Leave of absence requests. Councillor Pond has requested a leave of absence from the 13th of June until the 11th of July. Can I please ask for a mover and a seconder? Councillor Smith and Councillor Schumacher. Is there anyone opposed to that? That is carried. Are there any other councillors wishing to submit a leave of absence? No. Okay. We'll now move to petitions. We have no petitions tonight. Presentations, we have none. Deputations, there are no deputations. Now move to the confirmation of the council and special council minutes. I'll call for a mover and a seconder to confirm the minutes of the council meeting held on the 29th of April 2025. Councillor Burns and Councillor Wright. Is there anyone opposed? That's carried. Thank you. Now called for a mover and a seconder to confirm the minutes of the special council meeting held on the 20th of May 2025. Councillor Pond and Councillor Schumacher. Is there anyone opposed to that? That is carried. So announcements. We'll move to announcements next. And we'll first go to Councillor Pond, who's going to speak to us about the Port Bovard Awards Night.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, on the Saturday, the 3rd of May, I attended the Port Bovard Surf Lifesaving Club Annual Awards Night. If anybody's been down there or you haven't gone down, it is quite a gala night. They put on quite a do in the upper levels of the clubhouse, and everybody's dressed to the nines, and they make a big show of it. I laugh to myself when I go in because the awards table is just chock full of awards to be given out. You think there's one for everybody in the room. So I have a little laugh about that to myself. But I have to say, the club clearly believes in providing recognition for service to their members, which is really good. And they clearly use this recognition, and it's very much tied to their youth and club development. So it's really good to see a community club like that really focusing on succession planning and building itself for the future. So it's really, really good to see. There's way too many awards to go into naming many people, but one gentleman deserved a giant shout out for the night. He got a special award. Mr. Jim Delopoulos got an award for 50 years of National Patrol Service, which is pretty big. So well done to Jim, and congratulations to the club for another excellent awards gala night.
Thank you, Councillor Pond. I will just provide an update. I attended the 2025 WA Trails Forum, which the City of Mandurah had the honour of hosting for the first time. The event brought together trail planners, tourism operators, government representatives and community leaders from across the state. It began with a powerful smoking ceremony and a welcome to country by Uncle Trevor Stack, grounding the forum in the cultural significance of our Binjarab country. Throughout the day, there was a strong focus on the role of trails in connecting people to place, culturally, environmentally and economically. I had the privilege of delivering the welcome address where I shared how Mandurah is embracing trails as a catalyst for community wellbeing and sustainable tourism. A highlight was the discussion around the Giants of Mandurah, which demonstrate the power of creative, nature-based experiences to engage locals and attract visitors. It reinforced the appetite for trails that are not only scenic but also meaningful and accessible. There was a strong interest in the potential of the Yalgarup National Park. We shared our vision for it to become a world-class destination, supported by a trail network that protects the landscape and tells the stories of this unique region. The forum was a valuable opportunity to showcase Mandurah at its natural best, building partnerships and positioning our city as a leader in nature-based tourism. I'd like to thank all of those involved in making the event such a success, and I look forward to continuing to work in this important area. So I'd just like to thank everyone that was involved in that. Now I'd like to move to Councillor Smith, who attended the District and Local Emergency Management Committee meeting.
Yes, thank you. On Tuesday, 20th of May, I had the opportunity to represent the Peel Region Local Emergency Management Committee, LEMC, at the South and East District Emergency Management Committee DEMC conference in Perth. The primary role of DEMC is to support local emergency management groups by providing strategic advice, facilitating collaboration and participating in the development, testing and evaluation of local emergency management arrangements. The conference was attended by representatives from 17 local governments alongside a wide array of state and federal agencies. As someone who's primarily operated at a local level, the event provided valuable insight for me into the breadth and complexity of interagency collaboration required for effective emergency management. So there was just so many representatives. I'm not going to name them all because we'll be here all day, but even NBN, I never ever thought about them as being part of an emergency management plan, but they are. Conference core objective was to strengthen the interagency networks to ensure a coordinated, resilient approach to emergency management across the South and East districts. So during the conference, I presented on recent Peel LEMC initiatives, including scenario-based exercises conducted over the past year. These exercises are focused on district-wide power outages and a separate scenario on a hydrocarbon spill response within our local waterways, and building on prior exercises which addressed bushfire and flood scenarios. I also had the opportunity to engage with agency representatives to explore the development of a future multi-agency exercise, specifically involving a marine-based incident, such as a boat fire, and subsequent rescue operations. So after seeing some of the boat rage on the canals at Christmas time, I thought it might be quite wise to practice a rescue operation on the water. So this discussion was well received and highlighted the importance of cross-sector collaboration in planning and response efforts. It made me think about the ongoing flooding and numerous natural disasters affecting the East Australia. It's reassuring to know that we can rely on our robust interagency networks for support if needed.
Thank you, Councillor Smith. And we'll now move to Councillor Kearns, who attended the National Simultaneous Storytime.
Thank you, through the Chair. Yes, last Wednesday we had the privilege of taking part in the National Simultaneous Storytime, an annual event hosted by the Australian Library and Information Association to celebrate the importance of reading and early literacy. Across the country, communities came together to share the joy of storytelling, reading the same book at the exact same time. Councillor Smith, our CEO Casey, and I had the wonderful opportunity to join with our local libraries and read The Truck Cat by Deborah Frankel. This heartwarming story follows Tinker, a cat who travels the roads along his human, Yakub, exploring new landscapes while longing for connection. It's a powerful reminder of how stories can transport us, teach us, and bring us closer together. I want to extend my deepest gratitude to our library staff, educators, and everyone working in the early childhood space. Literacy shapes futures, builds confidence, and opens doors. And our young efforts and your efforts ensure children in our community begin their journeys with a strong foundation. For me, it was a real big honour to take a part in such a meaningful initiative, and I'm so proud that our libraries helped bring this national celebration of life to our community. On behalf of the Council, thank you to your commitment to empowering young readers. Your work really does make a lasting impact, one story at a time. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Kearns. Now we'll go to Councillor Wright, who was at the opening of It's a Small World exhibition.
Thank you, through the Mayor. And also just backing on to what Councillor Kearns has just said about the importance of early literacy. Being in the school last week, it's great seeing our education specialists get involved in those stories as well and taking on board these initiatives. Can I just say to the city staff while I'm on it about the Painting Magic Good Up Red has been fantastic. We've had some great stuff on Facebook recently as our school. However, yes, it's all about early intervention at that point and ensuring that we've got productivity moving forward as a country. But I digress. I was also at another creative industry. I went to Chasm and the staff there do an absolutely amazing job when they're doing these openings, and I was joined by the Director of Place and Community. Amazing area. It's an amazing space to have been able to come into, coming onto council, and I say that the artists who were there on the day, Carol Clitheroe, Jack Charlton and Titch Dixon, they really welcome you into their world. And I remember speaking at a former art event. It's a real culmination of a lifetime's worth of work when you get into an art display like that, because all three are stalwarts around Mandurah. Their work was amazing. They're very much into that kind of fairy tale space. I walked in and the speech notes were right on the money about us. He's transported back to a moment in time, and it really had me reminiscing about my own childhood. And they had these amazing boats that had been created with your dog on the boat and some big sail ships and all these other incredible things that reminded me of a place I grew up, Laverton, on a station, Marolia Station, where I used to make a raft as a kid when it would rain. I'd hop on the creek and we'd go down the creek. And it's funny how art can take you to those places. So I had an absolute ball. It was well put together. And yeah, another local artist, Leslie Barrett, also spoke. She was the guest speaker on the night and spoke incredibly well. But it was a credit to the city how much they do in the art space and what an absolute delight it is with everything that you do throughout your regular working life, that you can just go along to something like that, transport yourself somewhere else for a while. So I had an absolute pleasure to be there. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Wright. And that exhibition is still open at the moment, and I had the opportunity of going there today, and I would encourage people to drop by because it really is quite fabulous. Next, we have Councillor Wilkins, who's going to talk to us about the citizenship ceremony that we had on Thursday night.
Thank you, Mayor. It was an honour to attend the citizenship ceremony at our incredible Mandurah Performing Arts Centre last week, alongside yourself, Andrew Hasty, and a few of my fellow councillors. And what a night it was. This was Mandurah's biggest citizenship ceremony to date, where we formally welcomed 183 new citizens from 27 different countries. It was a privilege to be a part of their journey to becoming Australians and to celebrate the incredible diversity that makes our community so vibrant. As a country built on immigration, Australia has benefited immensely from the cultures, languages and traditions that these people bring from all around the world. And we see this reflected throughout Mandurah, where multiculturalism plays a vital role in shaping our social, cultural and economic fabric. Equally important to our identity is acknowledging and honouring the First Nations cultures that have shaped this land for tens of thousands of years. Together, these elements form the foundation of a more unified and respectful and inclusive community. This spirit of unity and respect was on full display during the Welcome to Country delivered by George Wally, with the crowd showing a deep appreciation for his address and the cultural performance by Barry Lawrence. As a son of immigrants, one of my fondest memories is when my parents became citizens. It was such a special moment for them. I remember how proud my dad was to become an Aussie, although you'd never have guessed it during the Rugby World Cup when he still barracked for England. That same pride resonated throughout the huge crowd that was present at the MPAC. They were proud to finally become Australian citizens and equally as proud to call Mandurah home. It's just a special thank you as well to the hardworking staff from the City of Mandurah that made the event such a success, and also to Councillor Peter Jackson, who did a fantastic job as MC for the evening.
Thank you, Councillor Wilkins, and it really was a special night, so thank you very much to everyone that was involved. Now it is my absolute pleasure to announce that the local legend for May 2025 is Ian Derrick. So Ian Derrick is a Lions Club of Falcon president. He's an outstanding community ambassador who goes above and beyond to support others, proudly living the Lions values of helping community and assisting others. Not only is he the club president, but he is also a mentor of the Falcon Leos and a founding member of the South Mandurah Collective, a new place enrichment team for South Mandurah. Ian is also a board member of Inca Respite, a local farm stay for people with special needs. His dedication to the community is truly exceptional and his activities are endless. He leads a team of Lions who look after the barbecue trailer, assisting local groups and organisations. He repairs and donates bicycles to remote communities and provides essential maintenance and modifications to bikes for individuals facing life-changing injuries so that they can enjoy the experience of riding. Under his leadership, the Lions also organise clean-up days for non-profit groups, and collaborate with the city to enhance community connections. Beyond his role with Lions, Ian tirelessly gives his own time to support community initiatives. During the Miami Village mini makeover last year, he personally undertook the work of multiple volunteers, digging out planter beds on Old Coast Road, relocating soil for tree planting at Inca Reserve, coordinating trailers of mulch, and helping to plant 200 native plants. His commitment continues as he regularly returns to Old Coast Road to water and to establish the new plants, dedicating 1.5 hours every week to ensure their survival. Congratulations, Ian, on your remarkable contributions to the community and your exceptional leadership. And he's a highly deserving winner of this month's Local Legend Award. And what an amazing person who contributes so much to our community. It's just fantastic to know that we have so many people that are constantly giving of their time. Makes me really proud, and I think we should all be really proud. So let's give him a clap. Now, let's move to declarations of interest. Elected members and officers are now asked to declare any real or perceived interest that they may have in respect of the reports listed for consideration at this meeting. And should an elected member or an officer declare an interest, I would remind them of the need to leave the chamber immediately prior to the item's discussion. CEO, have you received any declarations of interest?
Yes, Mayor. The first declaration of interest is financial interest, and that's Councillor Bob Pond in relation to Planning Report number 2, the amendments to the local planning scheme, short-term rental accommodation, due to Councillor Pond being an owner of a short-term rental business.
Thank you. So Councillor Pond will leave the room for that item.
Yep. And the last declaration of interest is impartiality by Councillor Ryan Burns in Report 1, the monthly financial report, due to Councillor Burns having a personal relationship with the Director of Scavenger Supplies Pty Limited, who was awarded a tender under CEO delegation. However, because it was under my delegation, no councillor had any input into the decision.
So that will be an impartiality.
Yep.
Yes. Thank you. Questions from elected members. Questions of which notice has been given. There are no questions. And questions from elected members.
Yep.
Councillor Wilkins.
Thank you, Mayor. Apologies for not giving notice on this. With the continued reports of antisocial behaviour in our CBD and surrounding areas, and with incidents involving some street-present individuals becoming more apparent, is the city planning a review or strengthening its strategy to ensure we are effectively balancing community safety with social responsibility?
Thank you, Councillor Wilkins, and I'll direct that to the Director of Place and Community. Oh, sorry, Director of Strategy and
If
Economic...
I can just, we might formally respond in relation to that. There is a lot of activity that's occurred, especially over the last 2 weeks. So I would prefer to
We'll take that on. We'll
take
take that on notice and respond later. Thank you. Councillor Shoemaker.
Thank you, through the chair, to the relevant officer. In just to go back to, in March, I asked a question about how much money had been spent on the advertising for the Western Foreshore, and that answer did come in April, and I thank you for that. Could the CEO please tell me, was that a budgeted amount or was it an unbudgeted amount? If it was budgeted, which budget did it come from?
Thank you, Councillor Shoemaker. Through to the CEO.
I might, I'm going to have to take that on notice because you're actually asking for a specific budget account, so I don't have the number and the title with me. However, there is funding that we provide for communications and that was included within the allocation that's provided. I will have to take the second part of that question on notice and provide you with the correct title of that budget.
Thank you. Is that a supplementary question?
No, yeah, another question. This actually has to do with the long-term financial plan. If I could please ask for clarification, and hopefully we won't have to take this on notice, but we may well do. In relation to new assets program, New Western Foreshore Leisure Precinct, there's expenditure over 25-26 to 27-28 of $6.344 million. What works are going to be carried at the Western Foreshore over those 3 years for the allotted amount or budgeted amount of $6,344,000?
Thank you, Councillor Shoemaker. Can I direct that question to the Director of Built and Natural Environment?
Through the Mayor, I'll need to take that question on notice to provide the detail, but broadly my understanding would be there'd be a range of projects entailed that, including obviously the upgrades to the local road network, around parking, and also there's coastal protection measures incorporated as well. But if I could take the question on notice to provide the specific answer and just clarify the information I just provided. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Subsequent question. Do we have any, or can the officer, or director, sorry, can you confirm how much of that 6,344,000 is actually directly connected to the proposed development on Hall Park?
Thank you, Councillor Schumacher. I think we'll take that one on notice. Yep. Thank you. Any other questions? Councillor Burns.
Thank you, Chair. I have 3 separate groups, and I might group the questions. It's easier. I have provided the Minute Officer and the CEO with written questions, if that assists.
Thank you.
Thank you. In early April, elected members were briefed by the CEO regarding an incident that occurred at the City Administration offices on Friday the 4th of April 2025, involving a small Aboriginal advocacy group. During that incident, senior city staff requested police assistance, resulting in a response involving at least 4 police vehicles and numerous officers. At that briefing, the CEO advised that an investigation into the matter would be undertaken. I have the following questions. Has the CEO completed the investigation into the incident? What policies, procedures or operational plans were reviewed or cross-referenced as part of that investigation? Will the CEO be providing a further briefing to elected members on the findings of the investigation? And will Council be provided with a copy of the investigation report, and if so, when?
Thank you, Councillor Burns. CEO.
I'll take those questions on notice.
Thank you. Councillor Burns.
The second group, Chair. At the Ordinary Council meeting on the 29th of April 2025, I moved a motion to allow elected members to use short clips from the City's publicly available YouTube videos of Council meetings. The City sought legal advice via written correspondence to inform this matter. I have the following questions to understand the context of this advice. Was the legal advice obtained by the City based on a single email or communication to the lawyer or law firm, or were there multiple communications such as clarifications or additional correspondence? Is there a legal or procedural reason that would prevent the City from sharing the written instructions or related correspondence provided to the lawyer or law firm with elected members? And if such a reason exists, could the CEO please outline the nature of that reason? If no such reason exists, could the CEO confirm whether the written instructions or any related correspondence can be provided to elected members, and if so, when and how could this be facilitated?
Thank you, Councillor Burns. I think we'll take those on notice as well. Thank you.
On the same subject, has the City sought or received legal advice regarding copyright laws as they pertain to the use of the City's content that is publicly available on YouTube, specifically relating to fair dealings principles under the Commonwealth Copyright Act of 1968, Part 4? And similarly, has the City sought or received legal advice regarding the implied freedom of political communication under the Australian Constitution, as recognised and developed by the High Court of Australia?
Thank you, Councillor Burns, and I think we'll take those on notice as well. Thank you.
And finally, if I may, Chair.
Thank you.
In my opinion, permanent sand bypassing is less costly, more environmentally sound and aesthetically preferable for our community. Could an update be provided on the outcomes of the City of Mandurah's advocacy efforts during the recent state and federal elections regarding the establishment of a permanent sand bypassing system at the Dawesville Cut and Mandurah Estuary Mouth? Given these advantages, if these efforts were unsuccessful, can you please outline the City's strategy moving forward to achieve this goal?
Thank you, Councillor Burns. We'll take that on notice as well. Thank you. Are there any other questions? Councillor Smith.
Thank you. Through the chair. My apologies. I thought I had submitted them prior giving notice, but they mustn't have got through. So I have some regarding the development down in Dawesville. And I have three questions, and then I have 2 questions on behalf of a resident. So I'm receiving increased complaints regarding construction litter in Dawesville and would appreciate a follow-up. So my first question is, has the monitoring of construction sites in Dawesville by rangers reduced over the last 6 months? Question 2, it's fine to have them all on notice. How many construction litter fines have been issued per month in Dawesville over the last 12 months? Question 3, can you please provide an update regarding meetings between building companies and the city regarding compliance and impacts to community? And on behalf of resident Michael McGreesh, Michael is asking, why has nothing been achieved in the last 8 months in regard to rectifying the problem of builders' rubbish and sand runoff in Dawesville? And his final question is, when can we expect some results, not only at the Ocean Road development, but across all building sites and subdivisions in Mandurah? Thank you. And then I had another question to the Director of Built and Natural Environment. Can officers please provide an update as to the placement of bollards to the south of the Dawesville boat ramp? Thank you.
So just in relation, we'll take those first 3 questions on notice, and then we'll go to the Director of Built and Natural Environment.
Through the Mayor, the bollards that have been recently installed will be relocated to provide sufficient parking for parallel parking to occur on the verge area. That work is expected to be completed within the next fortnight. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions from councillors? Councillor Shoemaker.
Thank you, through the Chair, to the Director of Built and Natural Environment. Just for my information, in the long-term financial plan, we have a budgeted figure here of 571,582 for the Pinjarra and Strother Road intersection, which we have been working on for around 3 years. Is this for main roads to change the signalling pattern? Or what is this cost for, please?
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Shoemaker. To the Director of Built and Natural Environment.
Through the Chair, I will need to take that on notice to provide, I guess, the detail around that. But my understanding is that is around the improvements at the signalised intersection through black spot funding. But again, I'll take that on notice to clarify that response. Thank you.
Thank you. If there are no more questions, we will now move to business left over from the previous meeting, and there is none. Now we'll move to the recommendations of committees, and can I please ask elected members to indicate if they wish to withdraw any of the items for discussion. And we have 2 items that came from...
Question, if I may.
Beg your pardon, we will have to withdraw them because Councillor Pond will need to leave the room. So we will deal with the first item, which is the amendments to the local planning scheme, the short-term residential accommodation and tourism development. The recommendation is the recommendation before us on the screen. Thank you. It is a long recommendation. While we're getting to the end of that long recommendation, is there a mover for that item? Councillor Shoemaker. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Wright. Councillor Shoemaker.
Thank you, through the Chair. This has been an ongoing scenario for as many years as I can remember in relation to short-term accommodation and complaints of poor behaviour, noise, etc. It has taken a long time for the state government to get their act together and help out local governments by doing something about it. Hopefully this new policy or scheme amendment will solve a lot of issues in relation to short-term accommodation, and I guess time will tell.
Thank you, Councillor Shoemaker. Councillor Wright.
Through the Mayor. Felt that the item gave quite a good balance as far as this short-term accommodation goes, but also if we look at our strategic planning as a city around it, just that responsible urban development but also with our focus on tourism, it's important that we get it right because people are obviously after it. And I do think it struck a good balance. And like Councillor Schumacher has mentioned, time shall tell on this one. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone wishing to ask a question or speak against the item? If that's the case, I'll put that to the vote. All those in favour? That is carried. Thank you. Can we please ask Councillor Pond to come back? We'll now move to the second item from the Planning Committee, which was the Mandurah Bay Seaside Local Centre Local Development Plan. The recommendation is before you on the screen. Can I please ask for a mover and a seconder for the item? Councillor Schumacher? Councillor Kearns? Councillor Schumacher?
Thank you. This is just a recommendation to approve a change which will hopefully be good for the neighbourhood, understanding that, if I got this correctly, that it is the approval will be by state government to adopt the changed plans by the developer. So I hope the residents, future residents, are happy with the changes.
Thank you, Councillor Schumacher. Councillor Kearns?
Thank you, through the chair. Yes, totally agree with Councillor Schumacher, and with no submissions made during that consultation time, hopefully this does align with what the community are wanting in that space. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Kearns. Does anyone have a question in relation to this report? Anyone wishing to speak against it? If not, we'll put that to the vote. All those in favour? That is carried unanimously. Thank you. Now we will move to reports from the Chief Executive Officer. I'm very tongue-tied this evening, I've noticed. Report 1, the financial report. The recommendation, just noting that there is an amended officer recommendation, which is before you on the screen and no longer has the item 3.2 on it. So I'm looking for a mover of the amended recommendation from, I beg your pardon, I'm very sorry. Would you like to present the financial report to us? How could I forget?
Thank you, through the chair. The financial report for April 2025. As always, we'll have a quick look at the graphs for operating. Our operating income sitting just below the budget line, and our graph for operating expenditure is below the budget line, both where we would like to see them at this point in the year. For the graphs for capital, non-operating income, we are receiving non-operating income as we complete capital projects, and our capital expenditure with commitments is just below the budget line as well. The interest trends, interest saved through our loan offset facility to date is around 182,000. Term deposit interest rates are attracting up to 4.8%, although that is decreasing with the recent decrease in interest rates as well. For a quick look at our rates receivable, April 24 we did have 98.5% collected. April this year we are at 94.1%. However, I'd like to note that last year we did have an uptick towards June. We don't expect that to happen this year, so we should see those two rates sort of converge as we near the end of the financial year. However, we are keeping a close eye on that. For the graphs over $10,000 in rates, we have seen that narrow right down to where it was last year. And between 3,000 to 10,000, that gap is narrowing as well. The budget variations, I'll take that as read in the report. And for April 2025, the tenders are on the screen as well as in the report. I'd also like to add that the city's procurement team observed the tender evaluation process and is satisfied that the probity and procedural aspects relating to the evaluation were compliant. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? Councillor Pond.
I'm happy for it to be on notice because it is fairly detailed. I noticed in the the page in the schedule of accounts dealing with asset disposals, that by this point in the year, we expected to have about 8,700,000 something disposed of, and we're at about 1,011,000, which is only about a 12% hit on that target. Just wondering if there is any explanation for the variation, and if there's any impacts out of that, or if it's just keeping equipment a little longer than anticipated. Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Pond. We'll go to the Director of Business Services.
Thank you, through the Chair. Thank you for your question. The $8 million disposal is disposal of land and property that the City of Mandurah owns. We're currently going through a disposal process for a number of properties. They are currently on the market and we have been receiving offers. Once we do receive the offer, we have to undertake an advertising process for community input and comment prior to the CEO or Council making a decision. So we are well underway in delivering our strategy. However, we may see some of the properties being sold after the financial year, and we'll make the necessary adjustments in the budget for next financial year and advise Council accordingly.
Thank you. Are there any other questions for the Manager of Finance? Councillor Rogers.
Thank you, Mayor. It might actually be a question for the Director of Built and Natural Environment. It's just in relation to the key capital projects. I noticed that both for the Dawesville Channel foreshore upgrade and the Coodanup foreshore, it looks like the actuals and committed costs are running over the budget that's for both of those projects. Just wondering if a question could be put to the relevant officer on the rationale for the overrun on the budget.
Thank you. I'll go to the Director of Built and Natural Environment.
Through the Mayor, there are contractual commitments that run over multiple financial years. So some of the funding related to those commitments actually run into the 25-26 financial year.
Thank you. Just go to the CEO.
So thank you, through the Mayor. In the column where it says 24-25 actuals, it includes commitments as well. And so that doesn't distinguish what financial year that will be delivered in. So as the Director has said, those commitments, we've already raised them, but the work may be undertaken in the 25-26 financial year. That's why it's over.
Further question?
Clarifying question. I guess it's what I'm hearing from both the Director and the CEO is it's fair to say that there isn't a budget overrun in relation to those two programs. It's just the budget for this financial year and the actuals and committed within this financial year for that particular project.
Yes, because the project spans multiple years. Yes,
that's great. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions for the Manager of Finance? No? And Councillor Shoemaker?
Sorry, Chair, I don't know if it will be for the Manager of Finance. I assume this one would actually be for Director of Natural and Built Environment. But it's in relation to 3.1 of the recommendation. The $100,000 from the boardwalk renewal, first of all, how did it come $100,000 under budget? And why is that $100,000 needed to increase the capital for the renovation of works and services building?
Thank you, Councillor Shoemaker. To the Director of Built and Natural Environment.
Through the Mayor, some of the cost efficiency, I suppose, was through basically being able to retain the pile and pier foundation for that boardwalk structure. So, in essence, through more detailed structural investigation, we're actually now able to only replace the superstructure, which has had some significant benefits around disturbance, but also in terms of cost efficiency. So that has been a positive outcome. In terms of the second question, effectively the tile roof on the Built and Natural Environment building, we believe is around 50 years old. Effectively, that roof went through some fairly major repairs around 15 years ago when we did major renovation. But the nature of the tile roof is that it tends to crack. So when we see people sort of undertaking maintenance works and other things, and also just through age, UV deterioration, That's certainly evident. So there has been some significant evidence of roof leaks, obviously that have emerged through the renovation of that building. Basically, as it is, if we don't undertake repair work, we're going to see ongoing roof leaks, potentially issues around the electrical infrastructure in the roof, such as lighting and others, continued damage for the ceiling. So, in essence, this work will prolong, I guess, the ultimate replacement of the roof, which is likely to cost in excess, I would suggest, of around $650,000. So by undertaking this work now, we reduce the WHS issues, the safety issues, through the use of the building, but also prolong, I guess, that ultimate replacement of the roof as well. So, thank you.
Thank you. If there are no other questions for the manager, thank you for your presentation, and I apologise for not calling you forward earlier. Okay, we'll now move to report 1, which is the financial report for April 2025. The council resolution is, the amended resolution is before you on the screen. Can I call for a mover and a seconder? Councillor Rogers. And do we have a seconder? Councillor Jackson. Councillor Rogers.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you again for the presentation of the financial reports, getting closer and closer to the end of the financial year, and always makes for good reading. I'm happy to support the recommendation that's in the paper, particularly around that amendment on the building refurbishment for the building on Ormsby Terrace. I don't speak hammer or nail very well. It's not really in my vocabulary, but I'm pretty certain that leaking roofs is not good for the building or the inhabitants of that building. So we probably have an obligation to address the issue, as it could potentially propose a work health and safety issue, and should be dealing with that. So I think it's a sensible recommendation, and coming from savings that have been made in relation to another project. Other than that, happy to note that all the trends are trending in the right way in relation to the dashboard and the report. Mayor, just in relation to the Makaroo and Camberang cultural camps, which is now no longer subject to the recommendation, but just acknowledging your leadership in relation to this matter for, I know you're too humble to say it, but securing some funds for a good social program that's the city agrees with. It links into a lot of our strategic plans and things we want to see delivered, but doesn't come at the expense of the ratepayer as well. So congratulations on getting involved in that project, which means, I can't think of many people that would take the time to both find savings for the city and still deliver a good social project for the community. So hitting 2 birds with 1 stone. Congratulations, Mayor, and just sending out my thank you for your leadership on that one. In relation to the rest of the report, happy to support it as it stands, and look forward to next month's.
Thank you, Councillor Rogers. Councillor Jackson.
Thank you. I'll just say rain is coming on Thursday, and there are storms right through the weekend, and there's no sign of it letting up into next week. So I'd get out and get this money underway as soon as possible on that roof. Makes perfect sense. I just wanted to say, just nothing really to add around the report in particular, but I wanted to second tonight because I wanted to just jump in and say how much I appreciate these reports and the diligence that our finance team, in fact, the whole team, put into strong and consistent, dependable governorship over the financials for the city. I've seen lots and lots of these, and I am struggling to think of any one particular time where I go, what the heck's going on? You're always keeping us abreast of what's going on, and I think the chamber has a lot of confidence in what you present. And even the way that you bring the information to us. So obviously we're not all able to digest financial speak very well as accountants can. But you go the extra mile to make sure that you can get that information into language or to a concept that we can get. So I really appreciate that. And again, the report is consistent with every other report that I've seen you to deliver. And we give you a bit of a hard time about clearing the room, and it seems to happen, I know, but I really do appreciate what you bring. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Jackson, and I will definitely agree with you with everything you said there. So is there anyone with questions or wishing to speak against the item? Anyone with questions, first of all?
Questions?
Councillor Schumacher.
Thank you, through the chair. I do have several, but I'll drop off a couple. It's in relation to the creditors' numbers that we have here. First, just for a bit of clarification, if we can, there's one amount here of $336,774.81 on page 23 of 28 to CJ Meriden Old Equi Group leases. What is that?
Thank you, Councillor Schumacher. Do you want to take that on notice, CEO? Yes. Thank you.
Okay.
Councillor Schumacher.
Further questions? I've noticed also, and there are, as I said, I do have a couple. Security services. I see on the breakdown from the company used, alarm responses November 2024, 7,720. Alarm responses December 2024, $9,386.04. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's about six of those for alarm responses for 1 month. Do we have a problem with our alarm systems? Because it appears to be a lot of money for alarm responses. So for clarification on this,
Thank you, Councillor
those figures,
Schumacher.
please.
To the Director of Built and Natural Environment.
Through the Mayor, I'll take the question on notice to provide the detail, but in essence, every time an alarm is activated, there's some response required. That could be simply through a community group accessing a building after hours and effectively accidentally activating the alarm through not having, deactivated the alarm correctly, through to potential intrusion and break-in. But again, I'll take the question in notice to provide a full detail around that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Schumacher.
Thank you. I'd just like to say they are substantial amounts. That's why I'm questioning as to how many call-outs and why so high. The next one I have in going through, and it amazed me quite a little bit actually. It was credit was $117,276.43 for plumbing, and I just want about missing seat to unisex toilet, $848.54. Then we have broken tap, $1,083.58. On the same page, a tap replacement was $202.91. Toilet cracked lid, $711.81. And then we can go to female toilet near cafe lid broken, $116.88. The numbers just seem out, and some of them on face value too high. Do we check the creditors or their bills against the work carried out?
Thank you, Councillor Schumacher. The Director of Built and Natural Environment or the CEO, who would like to?
Do you want to talk about the controls that haven't yet?
Thank you, through the Mayor. I'll just talk about the controls we have in place for things like this. The City has a purchase order system in place, so purchase orders are raised for the work. The contractor receives that purchase order, comes out and does the work, and then we have an order approval system in place as well, so that work is checked, the invoice is received, and that is approved. That then goes to our accounts team, the invoice goes to our accounts team, and we have a three-way match between the purchase order, the order, and the goods receipt, and the invoice. If all three match, that invoice will go through. If one of those doesn't match, then we will question. So that's just the controls from the financial side of things.
Thank you. To the Director.
Through the Mayor, just to follow on, and obviously again, I'll take on notice the details around individual costs, but certainly around some of the costs around public toilets and some of the infrastructure, seats and pans, to provide the level of durability that's required, and particularly around some of the accessibility. The reality is that some of that infrastructure is relatively expensive when compared to some of the prices we'd pay for residential fittings and fixtures. But certainly happy to take that on notice and provide some more detail around the specifics of those expenditures. Thank you.
Thank you. Further question, Councillor Shoemaker?
No, I thank the director for that, and I'll supply the list of ones that I'm sort of confused me. $848.54 for replacement unisex toilet, to me, needs to be looked at. That's one heck of a, must be gold plated.
So thank you, Councillor Shoemaker. I just would remind councillors that if you could get your questions in early, it will help the staff to come back with a more complete answer for the chamber. Are there any other questions? If that's the case, can I please put the item to the vote? Those in favour? That is carried. Thank you very much. We'll next move to report 2, which is the panel of pre-qualified suppliers, temporary traffic management and related services. The recommendation is before you on the screen. Can I please ask for a mover and a seconder this particular item? Councillor Cumberworth and Councillor Pond. Councillor Cumberworth.
I'd like to support this motion of having a panel of services for the traffic and management. I think it's the smart way to go. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Pond.
I'm happy to second the motion. I had a good read of the process by which things went through, and it looked like a solid procurement process, and I'm happy to support. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Pond. Is there anyone with questions in relation to the report? There isn't. Can I put that item to the vote? That is carried unanimously. Thank you. We'll now move to report 3, cleaning services for public ablution facilities. The recommendation is before you on the screen. Can I please ask for a mover? Councillor Wilkins. Councillor Smith. Councillor Wilkins.
Thank you, Mayor. A lot of toilet talk tonight. Apologies. Yeah, happy to support this recommendation as Brightmark Group as the preferred option. Bit disappointing that they're not a local business, but that's how it goes, I guess. That said, it's an essential service and needs to be delivered at the highest standard possible, and anything less would pose a risk to public amenity and could damage the city's reputation. So happy to support the recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Wilkins. Councillor Smith?
Yes, I'd like to second, especially if we're going to be looking after gold-plated toilet seats. We want to make sure that they're taken very well care of. I'm happy to second the motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Smith. Does anyone have any questions? Councillor Wilkins?
Just hoping the city can outline how it plans to monitor the performance of these cleaners, given the commentary online about the condition of some of our public toilets.
Thank you, Councillor Wilkins. We'll go to the Director of Built and Natural Environment.
Through the Mayor, there are a number of criteria that they need to meet around ongoing inspection, and also through the development of key performance indicators and regular performance meetings held with the contractor to monitor performance and ensure there's corrective actions in place where that's necessary. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Councillor Smith, you look like you are formulating a question.
Just through the chair, may I direct a question to the Director of Business Services? We discussed this earlier. It was just in relation to trying to make sure we do keep the business local, and we discussed we discussed, do local companies get a slight discount. Can you please just explain that to everyone, because I found that really useful? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Smith. Through to the Director of Business Services, if you could just give us an overview on the selection process.
Thank you, through the Chair. Council have adopted a regional price preference policy whereby local businesses automatically get the price preference, which is applied during price evaluation, and businesses outside of the district of Mandurah can still apply for a price preference, but that's called a regional price preference. And when they tender for an opportunity, they have to fill out a form as part of their tender response and detail their local commitment to employees they may engage, suppliers they may engage. Then through the price assessment, we include that percentage within our pricing evaluation. So in putting this into context, with the tender for the cleaning services for public ablution facilities, Brightmark applied for I believe a 80% regional price preference, and that was applied. They do engage a large portion of their workforce from Mandurah, and that was certainly taken into consideration as part of the overall assessment as well of the tender process. So we certainly do have the commitments that Council have included as part of a policy.
Thank you. Any further questions? Councillor Burns.
Thank you, Chair. In relation to the providing of that service, who sets the cleaning schedule and the scope for those public amenities? How often is it reviewed, if at all? And is there a mechanism for the service provider to provide feedback, given that they are the boots on the ground?
Thank you, Councillor Burns. Through to the Director of Built and Natural Environment.
Through the Mayor, and I would welcome the Executive Manager Governance Services to correct any errors in my information. But to my best understanding, in terms of the setting of the schedule, that was effectively set through the procurement process. So that involved the facilities to be cleaned and basically the expectations around the time to be taken in cleaning those facilities. If I could perhaps just ask for some clarification on question 2 again.
Councillor Burns.
Yeah, of course. It pertains to, so obviously we tendered, we outlined the scope, that was competitively tendered, but the environment changes, seasons change, and so it's understandable not to get it right within that tender. So is that fixed and the service provider has to strictly adhere to that, or is it a period of review? And do we allow that service provider or that panel to provide that feedback to improve that level of service?
Thank you for that clarification. And through the Mayor, so there is, I suppose, picking up that first part, there is some seasonal variability around the numbers of cleaning or number of times that the facilities need to be cleaned based on use. There is some flexibility in that there is a schedule and a schedule of rates for the cleaning, and certainly the contractor is bound to meet that schedule as directed by the city. There is also the ability to vary that schedule because it is on a schedule of rates basis, and we have hourly rates available. So certainly there can be some flexibility, and we certainly utilise that flexibility where there's issues around the service level. In terms of the contractor's ability to provide feedback, there are certainly regular performance meetings, and certainly there is an ability for the contractor to provide that feedback through that meeting forum. But ultimately, the city, I guess, determines the actual service level through the application of basically that schedule. Thank you.
Thank you. If there are no further questions, I'll put that item to the vote. All those in favour? That is carried. Thank you very much. Next, we have motions of which notice has been given. We have none. A notice of motions for consideration at the following meeting. Does anyone wish to give notice of a motion that they would like to include in the agenda for the next ordinary council meeting? We have none. Late and urgent business, there is none. Confidential items, we don't have any confidential items. So I'd just like to thank everyone. This now concludes the meeting. Thank you for your participation and support in assisting the meeting to run smoothly. I declare that all business is concluded and the meeting closed at 6:36 and request that the live streaming be terminated. And I'll just confirm.